So, everybody, welcome back to this week's Midweek movie show. And each time that we have a guest on, it always appears to be somebody different. We've had actors on, we've had writers on, we've had people producing all sorts of films. But today we're in the presence of a director. And I'm really, really pleased to announce Aaron Shrimpton. Welcome to the show.
Thanks very much, Paul. Thanks for having me.
Where are you calling us from today?
I'm calling you from Basildon, Essex, home of Depeche Mode.
Home of Depeche Mode, home of all of the great artists, I believe. Now it's this new film that you've created, Arcadia Lasts. We've had a bit of a sneak peek of it, as have the people of Basildon recently. I'd love you to tell us just a little bit about the film. How do you sum up a film like yours in just a few minutes?
So it's always the thing of like trying to come up with a pithy one-liner for your films, and that's what you're always told to try and create. But the simplistic way is it's a short film, about 15-minute short film about two teenagers. They bunk off school in Basildon, they go to Southend. Now their characters are leaving for different reasons. There are two main characters, Katie and Bobby. Katie's had a kind of rough start to the day. The police have come looking for her father, and Bobby has an ulterior motive. She wants to go and see a boy, and she coaxes Katie to go along with her to a trip to Southend. And through that trip, they have kind of experiences, and they come up across different characters that kind of give you a flavour of the environment. And then they end up in an arcade, for which is their resolution and conflicts kind of ensue. And there's a real test of kind of trust and friendship that kind of is the culminating point of the film.
There you go, and there you go. Now that everybody needs to go and see that, because that is what's really lovely about it is that the film is very much about a bonding experience between two teenagers, and what you managed to do is it's a short film of about 16-17 minutes, but all of that you said is able to be encapsulated into that short story. How simple was it, or difficult was it to pack all of that into a relatively short period of time?
Difficult. But it was, I guess, you're trying to create something that's simple and nuanced. And I'd really tried to avoid overt sense of drama, and I had a few revisions of the script, and I wanted to create something that had you have to have kind of narrative propulsion, shall we say. But I didn't want to do it really over the top. So I wanted to try and avoid the obvious pitfalls of female kind of characters and how they're kind of exploited and victimized a little bit. Now, writing from a female teenage perspective was not something I had an acute knowledge of. So I got a female writer to kind of help me create some more nuance with the dialogue, and also improvisation, and allowing the actors freedom to do that as well. But fitting all into 15 minutes, you're just trying to find like what's important for the audience, and what's also keeping some back and allowing them to have their own interpretations as well.
Yeah, there is a real sense of authenticity about it. It's interesting you say that you brought another writer on board to help sort of consult about those characters in particular. It's a really talented young cast that you've got. I mean, how tricky was it to find those people? Was there a big auditions process, or did you how do you get these young actors onto a screen like this?
Well, the first actor I found, and actually gave me the confidence to want to try and create something with someone that young, because initially when we went to make it, they were 14, but we had a bit of a delay because of COVID. But they were, so Katie's character played by Marnie Morkin, and Marnie was someone I knew really well, and I kind of ended up basing the film around her as an actor in many ways. But then we auditioned at her stage school, which is Sandra Singer Stage School in Leigh-on-Sea, and we originally cast in Marnie for the Bobby character, and then we had some people come into when we got them to play both roles, and then Scarlett Lennon came along, and she was just amazing really as Bobby, and we realised that Marnie was much more suited to the Katie role, which was the main character. So kind of by alchemy, I guess.
Yeah, it's sometimes you have a sort of fluid process, and actors will bounce off each other, and you'll see things when you've got the character relationships there that you can possibly have imagined when you've got a script in front of you. And then, of course, you've got all of the other layers of filmmaking to deal with. Now, you're certainly not a one-man band when it comes to doing this. There are an awful lot of experienced people that are bringing their expertise into the film. I mean, how have you been able to coordinate that, and has that been something that's been a big challenge for you as well?
Well, when we was auditioning for the two main characters, we had a host of other girls that went for the role, and they're all so good. I kind of actually decided to create a gang out of them. And then there was a boy that was added into that, and they're all from Sandra Singers. And they all came very well trained and prepared. So that kind of is half your battle, really. And they were very sort of focused and professional. And then from putting our cast together was kind of like people we knew, and the co-producer Barry plays one of the policemen,
right?
And then people I'd met along the way. And then Barry's he's a comedian by trade as well as a producer. And we added a guy called Marcus Birdman. He's got a really small part, and there's a guy called Terry Alderton. Terry was in EastEnders, so we managed to get him, and a guy called Thomas Cleary. He's actually Marnie Morkin's brother. So got people I'd met along the way that I thought was suitable, and got some luck really as well, I guess. And we had a cameo from our arcade manager as well.
Well, yeah. Anytime if you want to get a decent location, make sure that you put the people in the film. It is a great film, and there's one of the things about it is there's some fantastic camera work, but there's also really clever use of music throughout the piece as well. We're going to have a very quick break. We're going to listen to one of the pieces, and it's a track by Bait. And do you want to tell us a bit about this particular track and where it was used?
So yeah, one of my composers made a piece of music for the film. Luke Branch is in a band called Asylums, and as one of the members of Asylums is a guy called Michael Webster, and Michael runs as a band called Bait. Michael used to be in a band called Baddies, and I just was trying to find references, and they run a label called Cool Things, and yeah, I just had heard it, I think, from Instagram, a little fragment of it, and I felt like it had the right kind of drive to pull all the characters through that location where we're going through Southend High Street.
Fantastic. There you go. This is the sounds of Southend, everybody.